Hey everybody, Brian from Rebel Traders here. It is the weekend, June 18th, and of course Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there, all the fathers. And this is, of course, the video where we'll take a look at last week's price action in the market and then look ahead, try to figure out where we might be going in this shortened trading week because Monday is a holiday. So let's get down to it. And starting out with a quick review of what happened last week. We got that 0.75 rate hike. Initially was telegraphed by the Fed as going to be a 0.5, but given the inflation data that keeps coming out, they decided to go heavier on it. And the market actually took it pretty positively, but then we continued to get good economic data into the rest of the week, which was not taken well by the markets, seen as more inflation, and so the market's really sold off pretty hard here. You can see, again, sort of equivalent to last week, even worse actually. IWM small caps taking the biggest hit there, 0.75%. Wow, that's a big drop in 1 week when you think about it. Areas of strength and weakness, well, you can probably strike the strength out. There was just red across the board. Defensive consumer staples were the least red, so not surprising. Defensive stocks. Where money always has to be spent, rotation into those defensive names. Energy really got smacked down. Again, this was had run up a lot. It was green for many weeks when the market was heading the other direction. But this anticipated economic slowdown usually results in less energy being consumed. So that's probably why energy got under pressure here. The 10 and the 2-year, they were up slightly on the week, so nothing really to speak of there. US dollar up and down, really roller coaster ride on the week, ended up 1% higher. Yeah, just a real lot of volatility there. And speaking of volatility, over the weekend here, Bitcoin is dropping. It lost a 20,000 key level there, and it just really volatile. And I mentioned this in the closing bell show that we do. I said watch Bitcoin on the weekend given this price action we've seen. I was expecting it to be really volatile on the weekend when liquidity dries up, and it's easier to move the price of Bitcoin around. So we'll take a look at some charts and see where all the indexes are, and we'll look at see where Bitcoin is right now because it's trades 24/7. Okay, and before we get going looking at charts here, this is the part where I do a quick ad for my new book on Amazon Profiting as an Active Swing Trader. If you haven't checked it out yet, it's there for sale. And so now let's tip down and take a look at some charts here. Start out as always, we look at the treasuries, see what they're doing, and you can see here on the week we actually had went out lower than we opened, and after breaking out from the 3% level on the twos. So the trend is still firmly entrenched up, but maybe we're getting a little bit of topping action here and might actually check back to the 3% level on the 10-year. And again, same sort of action on the 10-year as well as the 2-year. So still in this uptrend, but maybe pulling back a bit as people start to worry about the possibility of recession and definitely slowing economy, which we seem to be seeing here. So transports, always like to look at those, kind of an indicator where the economy is going, and you can kind of see what investors think about where the economy is going down. So you can see here we had a lot of, we didn't get a lot of movement on price on the day on Friday, but we did get a lot of volume on the week. Definitely heading down to this. Seems to be heading down to this 200-day moving or 200-week moving average. Seems to be where we're headed. And last week we did it on some volume here, so momentum definitely to the downside on transports. And we do have FedEx reporting this week, so that'll be interesting. Again, the Dow, kind of an indecision day on Friday. A lot of volume on Friday when you look at this big spike up here. So a lot of distribution going on. We're right near the 200-week moving average on the Dow as well. Again, bigger volume week last week, so maybe we're finally getting some of that flushing action where we're getting near a bottom. I don't think we're quite there yet, but seem to be getting close. The Qs actually finished up on the day on Friday, which was a positive. And again, another down week, and again coming close to that 200-week moving average. Volume kind of building, although not as big as some of these volume bars here last couple weeks ago, month ago. The SPY, kind of feel like we're going to keep repeating ourselves here, but you can see indecision day on Friday. On the week, again down quite significantly on the week, 5.74%, and again coming down to this 200 weekly, which kind of corresponds to, you know, a level here that we broke out from. And so that kind of corresponds fairly closely. So, you know, we could be heading down there with a few fits and starts. As you can see here in a bear market, we often get rally days, and we may be, I think we're overdue for one, but don't start getting optimistic. IWM, sort of same story there. Again, an area where we broke out from. We're kind of getting into this area right now. So support, you know, based on price action back here, we're really close. It almost looked like we bounced off it on the week. So we're you know, on the IWM, we're below the 200-day moving or 200-week moving average now. So the VIX, again, this is something everybody's watching for. Everyone's watching for this big spike on the VIX, and we haven't seen it yet. And that's kind of an indication where everything, people just give up. And if you look back here, here's that big spike from the COVID crisis that started. If I go back on a monthly, you can see here's the COVID thing. Here's 2018 big spike, and then we can keep going back here, see the financial spike as well. But we're looking for a really big spike here to kind of give us a sense that maybe the selling is done, and we're not seeing that yet. So something where everybody's still watching for. So the dollar, let's take a look. You can see here, pretty roller coaster week there. As I mentioned, we're up, we're down on 2 days, and you can see really sold off Thursday. Came back up Friday. And Bitcoin, Bitcoin, it just, as again, I mentioned this on the weekend here, you can just see here, it just is getting, it's down, actually, what did it get down to? Almost just below 18,000. So the 18,600 was the low. That was yesterday, for Saturday. And yeah, there was definitely some wild stuff going on there. And it continues to, this is just a dog's breakfast for anybody who was hoping that Bitcoin was going to be a store of value. But you can just see here, we've really, we're due for a bit of a bounce because we're getting extended from these moving averages. But yeah, not looking good for the Bitcoin bulls. So some stuff I'm watching next week. I am watching a couple of stocks here. Amazon's, you know, it just seems to be holding this level here, down at about pretty close to 100. And you know, I'm just looking for stocks that might have a pretty significant bounce in them if when we do get a rally. Again, rallies are going to be suspicious unless we do get a big spike in that VIX that I was just referring to. But again, Amazon seems to be holding this 100 number, so it could be good for a position, especially if we do get a bit of a bounce. Charge point has really been sort of bucking the trend here, and I've still got some in my account. I sold some on Friday when we got back up in this high 13s level. I didn't really actually think it was going to go through 14, but it made it, and probably based on this some of these levels back here. And yeah, charge point, I think is, you know, we've still got some infrastructure, some charging. You know, electric vehicles are obviously getting a lot of focus with the price of gas right now, and I think there's some infrastructure stuff that might be coming out of the White House that has to do with charging stations. So I think ChargePoint is maybe going to get some benefit from that, and that's, I think, why people are liking it. But I did sell some calls when it was up here, 17 calls. They expired worthless. I got a pullback here, and I bought some more, and it's come back up again. So still liking ChargePoint. IBM broke out from this level. This was a pretty historic level when you go back quite a bit here. I won't go back on the monthly chart, but Again, this level here, I'd be looking for a retest of around 138, 139. MSTR, I mean, I talked about this in the previous weekend and said it was probably a good short, but then it opened up down here, and obviously didn't look that great. I suspect that on Tuesday when we open up again, we're going to see another significant drop on this unless Bitcoin manages a recovery over the next day or so. Keeping it simple, we're just sticking with looking at some of the ETF shorts. So this is the pro short, the Qs. Obviously the Qs under a lot of pressure because of the technology side of things. Tends to get more beat up, higher price earnings multiples, and probably looking for this volatility, but a trend higher until we see some sign of some flush in the market. And the USO, again, with the energy sector just selling off here. And I'm just watching this for a bit of a bounce because I still think there's the fundamentals of supply and demand dynamic is still in place regardless of whether we get an economic slowdown. So oil still could be interesting, but it's just having a real rough ride right now, and momentum still looking like it's heading more to the downside, but I'd be watching for some bottoming action on USO as well. And of course the XLE really taking a beating with USO, so that's a way to play that if we do finally get some bottoming action. Okay, so let's wrap things up here. These are the levels I'm watching for next week. You can see here we've really we keep lowering these levels of support every week as the market sells off. And yeah, I won't go through the numbers, but there they all are all there. Home sales we've got on Tuesday. That should be interesting given we've got Lennar, one of the home builders, reporting before the market open on Tuesday. We got Winnebago before the market open on Wednesday. It'd be interesting to see how that's going, given these are big gas guzzlers, and we know what the price of gas is doing. KBH Homes, of course, another home builder after the market closed. And then we got some interesting ones, BlackBerry, CCL, which, all this travel space has really been taking a hit over the last couple of weeks here, especially CCL, right back down to almost to the pandemic lows. FedEx, again, this is always a good read on the economy. How much stuff's getting moved, and so it'll be interesting to see what FedEx says. And we got CarMax on Friday, so that's what we got coming up, and these are the levels we need to watch. So hope everyone has a good long weekend, of course, Monday being a holiday, and Tuesday we will be at it again, 8 o'clock live on YouTube, and taking you through the pre-market, and of course with our members trading the market open at 9:30. So again, everybody, happy Father's Day and have a good rest of the weekend. Bye for now.